Hello everyone, my name's Kate Tantum. I'm a specialist rehab sister down at University Hospitals Plymouth, and I'm here with my amazing colleagues, Mel and Diane, to tell you about our secret garden, a garden for everyone. Some of you will have heard this from our previous presentation, but we're going to just change some of the stories so you can absolutely hear this from a friends and family and caregivers perspective. So we built our garden because a patient told us we needed to. So going to the person who absolutely understands what we need. This is Andrew. Andrew was assaulted while working abroad and left with a high spinal cord injury. He was repatriated to us, and the biggest challenge he had in his rehabilitation was infection prevention and control measures meant that he was isolated while ventilated in intensive care. Andrew described himself as an outdoor person. He loved his dogs, and all his family wanted to do was get him reunited with his dogs and his family outside. And his family were always telling us how isolating they found it for him to be in a side room and for them to only visit him in a side room. So the socialization was really challenged. So Andrew loved being outside, so trying to get Andrew outside in a hospital was quite difficult. We didn't have a garden then, so Andrew helped us design our garden. And Andrew's rehabilitation goal was to see his daughter graduate, and I'm incredibly proud to say we got him to hit that graduation, and she's now working in our organisation. Her and her mum, Wilma, and her brother all helped us design this garden. So finding a garden space that would meet Andrew's needs as a patient, but also families' needs for privacy, for dignity, for quiet, to support patients and loved ones with the whole recovery trajectory and journey. What does the papers say about the importance of fresh air spaces? Well, we know Florence has been doing it for ages, but actually the evidence in hospitals is really weak. We know that it has a big impact on stress, on relaxation, on socialisation, and we know it absolutely has an impact on recovery. We know that we used it prolifically in COVID for our staff support and for our loved ones. So we used this garden in COVID to reunite patients with their loved ones. So we had lots of couples come in during COVID, and often one was in red and one was in an amber step down. And one of the most poignant days of my career to date was when we reunited a husband and wife in the garden space, relatively illegally, because one was meant to be leaving the organisation and going to discharge lounge, and one was going downstairs for rehab. We knew absolutely that the wife was going to die, and we knew that this was their last opportunity to be together. And we made that happen because that was really important. So fresh air spaces in COVID had a massive impact on our patients and a massive impact on our staff, and the capacity to reunite families when we needed to most. It took us 5 years to raise the money, and it was quite a challenge, but we managed to do it. And now our garden is used for everything. We use it for family goals, anything you can do and should do with our patients, we do outside. We do rehabilitation. We take our multi-drug resistant organism patients outside so they can feel fresh air, so they can see their loved ones and not be isolated. It's very, very, very challenging if you have infection prevention control measures. We do lots of rehabilitation, and we do lots of end-of-life care for every age and every aspect of their care trajectory. And it also is a very important place for our staff. This is Chris in COVID, and the picture on the right-hand side is the first time her daughters had seen her when she had COVID. When she went out and was ventilated, she was the sickest patient I have ever taken outside. She survived, and she's holding her grandson. It was her, it's her 70th birthday. She wanted to be outside, and the upper limb training we had to do to get her to hold that bonny baby, I cannot tell you. We also use the garden for Christmas events for our paediatric patients, our adult patients. We take miniature ponies, we take animal-assisted therapy, and we're very proud to say as a team we have written the national guidance of supporting intensive care patients to go outside and also to support end-of-life care. But we're very proud that we're now able to share that with our neonatal patients. So we're going to share a couple of our patients' stories about neonatal palliation in our garden.
Thanks, Kate. My name's Mel, and I'm a neonatal consultant, and I'm really quite humbled and honoured to be a part of this team and our really close collaboration with our colleagues in the adult intensive care unit. So I'm going to, again, talk about a very special patient called Leo, and this is definitely a real legacy for him and something that his parents really want him to be remembered for. So Leo was on our neonatal intensive care unit in Plymouth last summer. He was with us for about 3.5 weeks. He was born slightly prematurely, but it became very clear that he had an underlying condition which meant that he was going to have a very short life. Now, towards the end, in his last few days, it was my responsibility to talk to his parents about end-of-life care, which is a really difficult conversation for anyone to have, but for parents who've just welcomed their first baby, even harder. But part of that process, part of that conversation that's really important to all of us is talking about wishes and things that they want to do, making memories. So in the neonatal world, anyone that's come into our world at all, you'll hear us talk about memory making. Because for those family members that live on, that is what they remember. And for Leo, the really strong thing for his parents is they were outdoor people. They really wanted him to have the experience of going outside. And a lot of work goes into this, but because of this garden, because of all the equipment that we had out there, because of the people that we work with, we can achieve experiences like this. So you can see me with my crazy socks on, but over the other side, you can just see the back of those parents' heads, and they've got Leo there, and we were out there for that evening, and we had an amazing time, and they knew that this might be his last ever experience, but it's really special. Now, the other lovely thing, he survived the night after this, and he died very peacefully the next day, but a year after, on his first birthday, his mum made and hand-delivered a few cards to special people in the hospital, and I said I'd read this one out to you. It says, "Dearest Mel, thank you so much for looking after our beloved son Leo last summer. It was really special to be able to go to the secret garden with Leo, and it is one of our favourite memories with him. We will forever be grateful for your support and kindness. With gratitude, Celine, Tom, and Leo." For me, that is what it's all about. Thank you.
You might wonder why neonates were a bit late to the party, actually, because if you look at all of that equipment that's required, the reason we were late is because it's difficult, and it takes a lot of courage when things are difficult to do things. So eventually, when we found our courage, and Mel was the first one to take this baby out, that actually sent a ripple, and it got momentum going for the next patient. And this is Ruby. And I want to pinch some words off my colleague behind me here. She always says, we come to work, we don't come for the uniform, we don't come for the parking, and we don't come for the money. We come to make a difference. And actually, the staff was so motivated by Leo's story that it made Ruby's that little bit easier. And we can see going forward how that momentum can go on. So here you can see similar in relation to equipment, but Ruby's story is slightly different. This was this parent's third baby. You can see the picture of her, the two children having a picnic in the garden. And she lived near a park. And what she said she really wanted to do, what she was looking forward to, was taking Ruby to the park. Now, in our garden, we had a lovely summer, last summer, and this is her. And what she did when we were in the garden, she said she closed her eyes and she could hear her children in the picnic because they were playing, and it was lovely. And actually, I don't know if you can see one of these, her son has got a camera. He was taking photographs too, and they had a professional photographer there. So it was really lovely that they captured those moments. And as you say, she had that Ruby in her arms and she was listening to her children. That was the closest she got to the park because Ruby did pass away very peacefully a couple of days after, again, she was in the garden. That, for us as staff, was the reward we needed, as you say. That wasn't all of the other things. That was the reward. And we are taking that little bit further now. So we want to share that. We want to share it with other people. This is the amazing team. And one of the questions from the previous one was, how do you get all of these people? This is a collaboration between ITU and NICU. And you can see our support tech people. You can see we've even got a student nurse there. And I was lovely talking to some student nurses on the break. You are the next generation of nurses. We want you to see what you think is impossible and keep pushing them boundaries for our patients because you're so important. So this is all the stuff we're doing to sort of promote what we're doing. This is to do with frameworks to help you guys. You say we're not here to say, look what we've got. We're here to say, look what you can do. Because actually the legacy is the legacy of what we're doing, but it's the legacy of our patients that we want to empower you guys as well going forward.
So I think our final point, we hope, is that when people say things aren't possible, they are. Because teamwork makes the dream work. And we absolutely know that the NHS is full of just bloody amazing people who get stuff done. So if you want to improve your care for your patients and you want to make your experiences for your patients, loved ones, and each other better. You have the capacity and the desire to do it, and you will do it. Just do it. Thank you very much.